and a 3, and a 2, and a 1, 2, 3. Hey!
Hey! That was a weird way to do that.
Was that like the best?
That was great.
The best like welcome.
And a 1, and a 2, and a 1, 2, 3.
I like that we get to put our little sign up before.
Yeah.
While we tweak some things.
Tweaks.
Yeah. Before we come on. Okay, what? What are you looking at?
I can hear a resonant thing. The ukulele is making noise. Based on.
Are you just trying to show off your ukulele?
No, not at all. 0%. I do not have any ukulele skills, but I do hear it go whenever we talk.
That's usually me that notices all the sounds and smells and sensory things ever.
Yes. But maybe it's like an angle thing. So I'm going to put it down here where it's nice and safe, but also then not making
We're
weird
still
noises.
Updating our mobile sound studio here.
It is command center.
Yeah.
Mobile command center.
Because we do studio stuff, recordings in here too, and we have like soundproofing everywhere.
Therapy stuff, recording stuff.
But I don't want to call it an office because then I would never want to come in here. So I put in fun new curtains.
They can't see them.
Yes, you can.
No, they can't see them.
Look, how fun that is.
You can see them.
Those are my new curtains. See, I mean, like if you do need to be in an office space, why not make it as fun as possible?
I'm with you on this. This actually scans. I mean, on a mental health level, it actually scans.
My favorite office space that I designed was when I was working as a children's therapist. Because then I got like all of the toys and fun things ever for my clients, of course.
I gotta ask, this may be my favorite office.
This one?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we're not even finished yet. We'll give you a tour. We'll give you a tour one day.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead and so welcome.
Yeah. Hey.
I'm
hey
gonna
everybody.
Turn this off. So this is our weekly live stream recording of our DC radio show with who goes first?
I'm Alex.
And Dr. Alexis. And we're focusing in on I'm gonna go ahead and say it. It's a new series.
Yeah.
Therapy or Trash, where we review all kinds of stuff on social media. Whether it's official advice giving, or just like role modeling, like people trying to act well, but are not.
Yes.
So they may not even be officially saying like, you should live your life this way. Here's some terrible advice. But they would just be making these like grand generalized statements.
Yeah. There's a lot of garbage out there in the world, and we're here to tell you whether it's therapy or trash.
There's actually a lot of good things. My algorithm I've trained to just show me mostly good, positive things.
So you're gonna wonderful for you.
You and your male algorithm.
The male algorithm is full of trash.
You're gonna have to like get all the trashy.
There are a handful of men giving good advice to other men, but most. I don't want to say most. There are a lot of people out there in the world who should not be giving advice regarding relationships.
That's the thing about social media, is that like anyone can post anything and look or sound confident and credible.
And one of my favorite sayings is, sticking feathers up your ass doesn't make you a chicken.
We're going to have to do some editing and bleeping out some of this stuff for DC radio.
But
they've already warned me.
But it's from Fight Club.
Alexis, no.
The book, not the movie, but yes.
My favorite is opinions are like assholes. Everyone has one.
That's fair.
And a lot of people on social media have a lot of very strong personal opinions. Some even like claim to have professional opinions. And then that's what's truly disheartening. So we'll catch them.
They'll be a professional. They'll be like a professional accountant, and then giving you relationship advice. And you're like, how are you life coaching, dating,
or even
advice?
like a medical doctor giving relationship advice? Like, you don't get that much clinical training.
Anecdotal evidence is not,
aka lived experience.
Lived experience is not evidence.
No,
it is not anything to base this on. So if we're telling you something, it is based on literature, based on a bunch of different stuff that we like and have curated over years.
And I'll preface it if this is like my own personal reaction that I'm going to something.
And that evidence is based on lots of different things. It's not just based on like studies, and it's not based on specific people. Like we typically love to research this stuff.
Like you and me?
Yeah.
Or mental health professionals.
Mental health professionals, some, depending on which category of people.
Yeah. Hopefully.
Not all.
We might even catch some mental health professionals out there saying some random BS.
Yes.
So.
And there are times in which I do disagree, and it's okay. That's also okay. And I'll say is this is what I notice around this, and this is what I hear I will talk about that.
And we'll talk through how we're coming to our decision on, is it therapy or trash?
Or trash.
Or a little bit of both.
A little bit of both. Take it or leave it.
Right.
Yeah.
So let's go ahead and do our official open
for
the show.
Is this what we're doing? All right. Hey.
Yes.
All right, do it. Ready? Go.
I'm Dr. Alexis, a doctor of clinical and community psychology.
And I'm Alex, a licensed clinical social worker and the therapist.
And we're let's have to cut that out. We're a married team of mental health and relationship experts reacting to the internet's worst
and sometimes actually really good advice.
Is it therapy?
Or trash?
We'll continue working.
So
this is not ridiculousness.
Right,
although a lot of we're going to get us in trouble.
I don't want to get in trouble. I love you, Rob Dyrdek. Don't get me in trouble.
So this week on Therapy or Trash, we're going to be referring to, I have one video about, we did a whole show on this, the male loneliness epidemic. And this guy sounds pretty like confident about what he's saying. I meant to look up like who he is and what he does and why he's speaking to this topic in such a way. I'll pull it up while you vaguely introduce the ones you have.
Okay. Additionally, we're going to talk a little bit about relationships and red flags. We're going to look at what is emotional regulation or conversations in relationships. And so there's some things that I want you to really pay attention to and that we'll kind of highlight because it almost sounds like good advice. And I'll tell you where I feel like it may have missed the mark. So yeah, to be honest, I kind of just want to talk trash about people who do terrible things to people who have lots of followers.
It's just one of those days.
I just want to.
Our last episode was mostly
like
positive. Like the stuff we found was relatively good. We just kind of like pick apart some things. We're like, that's trash, but like generally, the messaging was positive.
I just want to pull up all the people who have major influencer accounts and just be like, you are painfully hurting people with terrible.
You're causing damage.
You are causing damage. I want to.
Are those people included in today's videos?
A little bit of column A, a little column B.
Okay. Okay. I looked at my guy, so I got it. When we come to the video,
there's some heavy hitters. There's some heavy hitters that I just want to do video of.
This one's a pretty heavy hitter. I think their general content that they're actually trained to discuss is pretty good. But then they dive into psychological, sociological things that they're not trained in. So we'll be reviewing those together.
Okay.
So again, this content is for educational and entertainment purposes only. This is not therapy. Even when we use the word therapy, we mean like, is it therapeutic or helpful? And we are sharing these videos under fair use for commentary and critique. And the links and credit to the original creators are going to be in our show notes.
I'm just going to keep making gestures.
I know.
It feels really good. I like this. I'm enjoying this gesture.
I joined in.
I want to be your Vanna. I want to.
So our live streams do get like deleted on what are we on today? Instagram and
YouTube,
Facebook.
And Facebook.
But on YouTube, it's automatically available for on demand, and that's where you can find our show notes. It goes through an editing process for DC Radio, and then gets broadcasted through them, and then also podcast version, and then you'll be able to find it. All of our shows, all of our old shows too, archived on our website, witandreason.com/DC radio. So
awesome.
Let's get into it. Let's get into it.
I want to watch this.
Who do you want to go first?
I want yours. I want
Mine?
yours. You're on
okay,
first.
I have the profile up. So this
am I supposed to get their profile up?
I think we should know this kind of stuff because
that's so much more work that I don't want to do. I just want to talk trash. Okay, fine. I will do some more.
We have to be like somewhat professional.
No, you don't.
In our investigative
I want parody.
journalism here.
I don't want they go low, we go high. I want to go, they go low. I want to meet them at low and then hit them so hard that they fall off the low into the abyss of nothingness.
You're gonna get us sued.
Oh,
we have to be professional about this.
Fine.
We're also going to be stitching. We're going to have stitch reactions as well on our social media at Wit and Reason.
You watch Alexa's eye twitch from the stressful content of like some of this.
That's from like driving all over across the country.
That's from my fault. That's my agent.
All right, so this is someone who seems very beloved, which I think I know why. All the rest of their videos look really informative, and I'm actually going to follow them because I want to learn more about everything that they have to offer. So this is Josh Cottle. Okay. I'm saying the last name right, you think?
Yeah, I've seen him before.
And at Psy Body Therapy, so and Psy as in science, not Psy as in psychology. So SCIBODY Therapy. And then on TikTok has 993,000 followers. And will usually, oh no, now that I followed, it's like hiding the details. Josh is focusing on anatomy, and now it's hiding this thing.
I don't even know what the thing is. You're doing more work than that. Let's do it.
Okay.
Let's just.
So go ahead and play. Let me remove this. Go ahead and play the video, and then we'll see. So this one, for those of you listening, not watching, we have Josh here who's just facing the camera and is directly talking to viewers. So this one's not mine. You're gonna pull up mine. So if you want to follow him on TikTok, it looks like he has a lot of great science and anatomy content.
Okay. Give a sec, and we're gonna share this thing and tell you.
Anatomy teacher and science nerd. Cool. Based in Minnesota.
It always does that when I open it up this way. All right, there we go.
Is the male loneliness epidemic actually an evolutionary filter? Currently, 50% of males are not in a romantic relationship, nor do they have the promise of one anytime.
Where's that?
What I'm proposing here is that this epidemic isn't just a social tragedy. It's actually an iteration, a harsh iteration of natural selection. Essentially, men who fail to meet the increasingly selective mate criteria are going to experience social and romantic exclusion. This could act as evolutionary pressure, gradually reducing the prevalence and ability to pass on less desirable traits. We do need to remember that evolution acts slowly, like it is multi-generational and takes time, but we may be witnessing the first generation or two of a new kind of selective filter, one that has been brought on by the generally more selective female of our species, women, having more power, more self-autonomy, the ability to make more decisions, make more money, higher education. All of these things may actually be coming into play in just the last handful of generations. So we haven't actually experienced the suppression of the characteristics in the male population yet, but this might be the beginning of that. And I want you to think about the fact that female preference is definitely changing. Like, women are more interested in men who are emotionally intelligent, socially valuable, and in different ways than they used to be. Like, they don't need us to be physically dominant as protectors or even financially dominant. Like, they're not dependent on us in the way that they used to be. And some would argue in a way that we installed a system to keep them dependent on us. As a hypothesis, I don't know if this actually has legs, but I would be interested in your opinions. Are we at the beginning? Are we witnessing a new kind of evolutionary filter?
All right. Thoughts, feelings, physical reactions?
I have lots. All right, so do you want mine first or do you want to go first? Because it's your video. What do you think?
Since I found it, I've been sitting with it for a little bit. I want to hear your gut reaction.
So,
and then also, if you're joining us live or even watching us on demand, go ahead and put
any comments,
any comments,
thoughts, whatever.
Thoughts, things you think about it, feelings, emotional words, like I feel blank emotion, and then physiological feelings, tingling in your hands, increased heart rate, stomach. I want to get people in the practice of like being mindful while consuming content.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Cool.
Give it to us and
what
tell
are you
us
talking
what you
about?
think.
All right, great. I know it makes sense. So my immediate reaction is yes. Like, I mean, when I hear this, I'm like, it will. And if you take what sounds possibly judgmental aside, I think there's some ways that maybe I'm hearing certain aspects of this that I would tweak a little bit. But men need to evolve, and there is a need for men to evolve because your physicality and your ability to then make money are not emotionally are not emotional stability type of things for a healthy relationship. So if there are people out in the world looking for healthy relationships, you should be doing better to increase your ability to do skills, these other skills that typically have not been emphasized by toxic masculinity, conceptions of masculinity and maleness, all these other things there. Yes. Like, is it evolutionary? I don't know about that, but I do understand where he's coming from, because the idea is that these are things that need to die out as the primary traits of something that is useful. Can you be both physically strong and emotionally strong? Hell yes. So do that. Sure, do that. Like, you do not have to be like an emotional weakling to actually read a book, or a physical weakling to read a book.
Yeah.
So, like, I mean, really, what's wrong with being more than just a source of money or safety? Like, do you really want to? Is that all you want to be anyway? Like, as a man, like, oh, I want to be money and safety.
And then you hear, we'll get those videos later. Blech. And then you hear men complaining about it.
Yes.
Like, oh, women only want me for money and safety. And it's like, we didn't make this construct up. You all did.
And there are women out
get
there.
Out of it.
If you are a heterosexual man looking to date a woman, there are women out there who are looking for people who have like, if you're finding people who only want you for money or physicality, you're also looking in the wrong pool.
Yeah.
That
says more about you.
So that says more about what you're looking for.
Yeah.
And so that's where the natural selection, you figuring out what it looked like. There's an emotional piece of work that you need to do to then be part of the gene pool.
Yeah.
So
the thing
I don't disagree with him.
The thing that I struggle with when it comes to this topic of the male loneliness epidemic, that I mentioned in our full episode that we did on this topic, is that people automatically associate that with dating and men's intimate lives. Yeah. And when we're talking about loneliness from a psychological perspective, you can be in a room filled with people or with your partner and still feel very lonely. Yes. And so I don't like people kind of like assuming those two together. Yeah. Or that causation. Because you can still be in a very loving, supportive relationship and still feel very lonely. Yes. You know? Completely. Or you could, and vice versa, you could be single and not feel lonely. Well, because your partner shouldn't be everything anyway. So if you feel lonely, it could be because you have an amazing partner and best friend, but you also then kind of feel like you want more than just one voice in your life. And I want you to want more than just me. Right? Yeah. And so it sends off like the red flags when someone's like coming in strong at like male loneliness epidemic. You're single. That's the problem. And then here's all the reasons why you're single. The reasons why a heterosexual male might be single, because they're not living up to today's modern cultural expectations of what it means to be a decent human being. Forget about sex or gender. The bar is pretty low. That makes that part of what that messaging around that makes sense to me. It also makes me wonder if that is the case. And I don't know where and he says this is a hypothesis. But like, if that would be the case from a sociological or even anthropological. Mm-hmm. I was thinking of the store. Yeah. I'm not shopping there right now. Anthropological look at where all their donations go. From an anthropological perspective, why would it be that women have continued to evolve, but men haven't?
Yeah.
You know,
Well, because
why would there be that
mismatch? I think you threw it in there.
Which part?
So when you've created systems of repression and misogyny that actually keeps people down, them fighting oppression and kind of lifting themselves up allows for that gap to shift and change.
Mm-hmm.
So because you've been basing all of your gendered identity, control, and power on this misogynistic paradigm, like you then have to shift.
Mm-hmm.
And since you're not, it just keeps on going up, and you're still being misogynistic, crappy.
Mm-hmm.
They rise up, and you stay floating on the just whatever bare minimum garbage here.
Mm-hmm.
So they keep on rising, and then you stay. So you refuse to evolve because
that
the messaging.
teeter-totter visual makes a whole lot of sense.
Yeah.
To me, they get too cozy, comfortable.
Yep. Well, because it's about
in their privilege,
because they want power. They want to maintain power in some way, shape, or form. And it's not like overt. It's not like I'm like, oh, I'm a man, I want overt power over other people. It's covert. It's I'm exercising privilege that I don't actually like realize that I'm exercising, and I am comfortable with that privilege. And then that lack of evolution is something which I'm comfortable with because I'd have to be uncomfortable and do some things. You know, there are times in which you say, well, that's pretty misogynistic to me around certain things.
And he's pretty good.
And I'm like, I don't see that as a misogynistic thing, but I hear you tying it to your experience as a woman as this actual shackle of like misogyny. It makes sense to me once you kind of say it that way. Do I see it that way? No, but that's because I'm exercising usually privilege at that point. So I don't see that. So do I like hearing it? No. Does it make me feel bad? Kinda. But do I understand the evolution of what that looks like then? Yes. Do I try to and try to implement it accordingly? But it's also hard.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, but I don't like, there are certain things where you're like, well, you not doing this chore is kind of misogynistic for these reasons. And I'm like, but I just don't like doing that chore anyway. And then I'm like, which one is preference and which one is just being an asshole?
When there's a pattern.
Yeah. I know. Thanks,
right.
Thanks. Yeah.
And that's a tricky part when it does come to dating and relationships, because even if you have all the best intentions, and education and training and raised by a strong feminist mother and father, you know, we're still all existing in this society and culture where we're still going to have blind spots and bias. Right. And so learning how to navigate that within your relationship as you learn and grow and evolve together is a special task and skill all on itself.
It is.
We could do a whole other show about that as well. Because it is something that needs to be said and resolved. And my intention when I'm bringing that up isn't to try to make you feel like shit or anything. No. It's just like,
and I don't hear you.
What's happening here doesn't feel good. There's something's off here, and I might not even know.
But that's also
where
why
it's coming from. But
that's also why, if you look at relational therapy, like you look at the Gottmans, they say conflict is neither good nor bad. Conflict just is. How you then approach conflict is then up to you. And so, you then move towards conflict, and we kind of explore this thing. It ends up being good because, although uncomfortable, changes the dynamic. So conflict isn't bad; it just is.
And what I have to say and give you credit, and every other couple and people who tackle these types of things within their intimate relationships, where you can feel very vulnerable, is that it takes, I would say, like an immense amount of ego strength in order to navigate these discussions.
I have no ego strength. Thanks, honey.
Yes. No, you do. That's what I'm saying.
I know. I don't know what you're talking about.
That we can have. I feel very comfortable to like share whatever my concerns are, or whatever my reactions are. I try to communicate it as best as possible. But whether I'm doing an excellent job or a shitty job of trying to regulate my emotions while addressing whatever the issue is with you, that you handle it very well and with an effort to show love and support and compassion and curiosity and empathy.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Even if the constructive feedback is directed at you.
Fair. Well,
so it takes a lot.
So therapy or trash? What do you think?
Okay. And again, this happened last time too. Someone threw out a random number and I was like, don't throw out random stats unless you're backing it up, because
According
numbers
to-
stick to people. So is it 50%? And then what dudes are we talking about here?
I don't know where.
And
that
then are
number
we
come from.
focusing on just the heterosexual dudes?
And
or
from what age group?
how
and
would you
whatever
know
else?
that 50% of dudes
Are
are single,
single.
and that all those dudes are struggling, as part of experiencing this male loneliness epidemic? So get that hook. I don't like that hook that you're using to grab people in. I say not only trash, but unethical, especially as an educator.
Mm-hmm.
But the general messaging, and then your little disclaimer at the end with the hypothesis.
Yeah.
Like, oh, this is,
okay,
my hypothesis. What do you guys think about it? Like that?
It's worth examining, and I think it's therapeutic in that way that it gets you talking about the things if you really delve into it.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah,
therapeutic.
Even with the numbers?
Even if it made you look up the numbers, I think that would actually be therapeutic.
But I mean, like, even if you were to try to look up, there's no way of no.
I know. But go look up all those numbers, and then by the time you're done, you probably will learn something that will make you a better person.
And then there are studies around, people who are in supportive, loving, intimate relationships, and then the emotional support and benefits they gain from being in that type of relationship. Mm-hmm. So there is that there.
Oh, yeah.
The hook is trash. Okay. The rest, the thought, the thought process.
We're gone.
Is therapeutic.
All right.
Especially if it's like.
I'm kicking us down the road. You're done. I like your soapbox.
Well, I get to keep on talking until you pull up the next video.
So there, ready?
I keep the show fun and vibrant while you click through all these buttons.
Always so vibrant.
Another unhealthy relationship is if
I want to do that.
Another sign of an unhealthy relationship is if your partner says things that make you feel bad on a consistent basis. That's not what it's supposed to be. Verbal abuse is terrible, sometimes even worse than physical abuse. And so if your partner is consistently saying things, whether they're terrible or not, but certain things that are triggering you to feel bad about yourself, that is a sign of an unhealthy relationship. And that doesn't mean that what they're doing is right or wrong. That just means that you don't feel well in the relationship. And so if you're not speaking up about it, then that's a problem that you need to address personally. But if you have spoken up about it and it continues to happen, then I would suggest that you are in a unhealthy relationship and might want to think about getting some help with it, some counseling, or finding a way out.
What?
Exactly.
There's like some fishtailing going on there.
Fishtailing. Yep. That's
who is this person? But you have to give them credit.
I will go give them credit.
You have to at least say the name for me so I could put it in our show notes.
All right, fine.
Scuzzy has entered the building. Oh, this is such a professional recording.
All right, so this is. I can't see this name. I can't see it because the thing is so dark. All right, what is this? I don't know this person. Michael Chernow. There we go. Michael Chernow.
He seems legit. Look, I see.
He's a life coach.
And look, see you in health.
Healthy. See you in health.
Yeah,
okay, sure.
Versus see you in hell.
Yeah, sure.
I like that. See you in health, bitch.
Okay. All right. So anyway, to the thing. What are your thoughts?
I'm confused.
Right?
I almost want to watch it again.
Do you want to watch it again?
Can we watch it one more time?
I mean, I just closed it, but sure.
And I want to start taking notes on these things.
Really? Okay.
Yes. This is very serious.
This is why you can't be on ridiculousness.
Well, I'm going to have my notepad, obviously, on ridiculousness. Okay. There was something about, because the nuances around emotional abuse, verbal abuse, psychological abuse, people don't really understand that. So I have to do a lot of educating in the dating work that I do with people. And so I think it's worth talking that aspect of dysfunction in relationships and in dating. I think it's worth talking that up. But then it could be challenging because we're kind of trying to identify like who's at fault here, where it's like if someone says something that's upsetting to you, then they're the problem. But it's like, well, what's so upsetting to you? And then now are you getting into this line of being controlling and like in what everyone can say?
All right, so of course I can't replay it because there's some other issue now because you want to replay it for the first time ever. All right, we're not doing it. We're not replaying it. We're just going off of it.
So let me hear your thoughts.
Okay. So here's my problem. When somebody else is triggering you, this is a you
I'm glad
thing.
we're talking about this common
is a
word
you
being
thing.
used.
Triggering is a garbage word. This is a pop weird meme word. Triggering is not an actual like psychological term unless you're utilizing it for relapse prevention, other types of dynamics, CBT, like trauma. So triggers are external factors that then influence you, and then you have a reaction. Okay, this person saying something to you that is triggering. They are not the problem. The content is not the problem. That is not actually what's happening there, right? This is not an outside influence that is now saying somebody saying something to you is not triggering in that way. It does not. So it's problematic how we use this word. They're not responsible for your feelings. Fair?
And here's where it gets tricky. Because it's hard to make these like blanket generalizations because I'm always thinking about the variety of people and circumstances I've worked with in my profession.
Sure.
And we can't generally say if someone says something that's upsetting to you, it's not their problem, it's yours. We can't make that blanket statement.
Yeah, it's not quite what I'm saying either.
Okay. We can't make that statement because of what I just talked about earlier, verbal abuse, psychological abuse. That is not okay.
Yes.
So if someone is being verbally abusive or psychologically abusive in their communication and interactions with you, they are the fucking problem.
Sure, but the problem is that people aren't defining those things anymore. They're just using words like it's verbally abusive or psychologically abusive or emotionally abusive.
That's on one side of the spectrum. On the other, if someone says, hey, what's up? And then you're like, how can you be asking me about like what I'm doing? You always want me to be so productive all the time. Like I'm just trying to chill here. Like, and then you find something general triggering.
Well, but all
it's
right,
not their fault for saying something so general, like, hey, what's up? Like, as long as what the person's saying or doing isn't abusive. And so then we'll have to define that.
See, that's what I'm getting at. Like, my problem is in any of these statements there, like what you're really talking about is a relationship in which there is discourse going back and forth. We just talked about how you bring up things regarding their complaints. They're not criticisms, but complaints around what I'm doing or what's going on, right? And I then accept that complaint and I hear it out. If I have an emotional problem with it, I then ask you and have a discourse with you and communicate with you about said problem. Hey, what do you mean by that? What's that coming from? What do you mean? I'm exploring this thing because my underlying assumption that I should be making in a healthy relationship is that you're not doing it to then hurt me. I want to turn towards you. Gottman method. So here, I'm going to continue to cite myself. So that's turn towards, right? Yeah. So like I'm going to turn towards you and use empathy and go back and forth.
Right.
Now, you probably didn't mean to then hurt a feeling that I have. I then feel sad or hurt or judged or belittled or shamed or something like that. I then go, hey, I have these feelings about this that I want to reconcile, work on, but what is the meaning of this?
Yeah.
What are you coming to? You're the trigger, right? You can come in with a complaint. That is then my feeling. I don't just get to go, oh, you've triggered me.
Yeah.
That's what I don't like.
Yeah.
That's where they're using it incorrectly.
Yes.
You triggered me.
So the triggering or the emotional response that you're having to what someone's saying isn't inherently the problem. What the person is saying, how they're saying it, and yes, people's intentions fucking matter. I hate that people are saying like, oh, well, what you intended to do doesn't matter. I'm just feeling hurt about it. Like, no.
Yeah.
Their intention matters. Like if they intended to say something with malicious intent to hurt and harm you, that's very different than someone who's just speaking normally, and then for whatever reason another person ends up feeling triggered. And so I see what you're,
and that is negotiable, right? Because if you have an intentionality to be complimentary, but you're like, oh, you know, you look so pretty when you smile, well, that's linked to misogyny. That's linked to misogyny, which then is this thing. But then you have another conversation which goes, hey, I appreciate you. You don't even have to say this. I understand that you're complimenting my smile. I hear you. That unfortunately is very much linked to misogyny.
If you want to do that emotional labor.
Exactly.
So even like in what we're saying, it's all like case by case.
Exactly. You know? But that's my point. My point is you can't say that, oh, you keep telling me things that are bad, like that I don't like to hear, and that makes you bad. Right. And then I've told you that I don't like you telling me things. Yeah. And oh, you keep on doing it. So if it's take out the trash because like you have no accountability in this household, you contribute nothing, and I really don't appreciate it. Yeah. Like I'm doing all this labor and you're only doing whatever. That's valid if you don't do it. Like, so search yourself for this thing. What they're telling you could be useful. Ask questions about it. Not just, I don't like that you said that to me.
Mental health and psychological health, or creating a psychologically safe environment, is not about not feeling emotional discomfort.
No, feel it. I mean, like, all the time.
We even write it up in our disclaimers when you're going through professional training, like coaching or therapy with someone. Mental health services are going to elicit emotional discomfort. It says it right there in black and white.
So my favorite clients have told me to fuck right off, and I'm like, and I get why, and I was pushing a button there, and I got it, and
more so in forensic work.
And then we talk about it, and they what? Hey, did I overstep it? Do you understand where I'm coming from? Does this look? They go, yes, I do, or no, I don't. And hey, we talk about it, and we work through that because those feelings are valid and important. But I'm also not going to not say something that is like really big and important where they're not doing the work.
Yeah.
So that. So that's why the things like this, they look okay at first glance. At first glance, they may see them as okay.
Here's the thing that's crossing my mind too, is like, and then everyone gives people who have a narcissistic personality disorder such a hard time. And it's a big thing. What we really should be talking about is antisocial personality disorder if we want to really get into some problematic stuff, or just
emotional manipulation.
Yes. So I'm imagining someone with those personality traits using what we're saying, and of course warping it in their intimate lives, and saying like, no, just because you're triggered, just because you're feeling.
But that's the thing,
we're working through something, and you need to like work through this emotional discomfort while I'm talking shit to you.
Yeah, no, that's not what that is either.
It can't be just black and white. The context of what and the content of what someone is saying, it matters, and as long as they're not like putting you down, cursing you out, the name calling, the accusatory without any kind of like evidence of like, oh, you're cheating on me all the time. There's like, and they're trying to control your behaviors, and there's nothing to show.
It's like when people say like, oh, let me be brutally honest, or like, I'm blunt. I'm like, no, you're aggressively honest. That's it. You're just aggressive. Brutal honesty is you not having empathy or wherewithal to actually communicate effectively, and not taking the step to communicate something that could be valuable, important. And instead, what you want to say is so much more important that you don't take the time to be empathetic and around something. Instead, you're brutally honest. All you're doing is being an aggressive human. So you can still say
what's the really honest. It's an opinion at that point.
Yeah. And if you want to be honest, then be honest and talk about how something makes you feel, how you're processing something, and what you think is happening there. Yeah. That takes more emotional wherewithal. Brutal honesty is just lazy aggression with honesty there. You may have a lot of insight.
Intellectualize verbal abuse.
Yes. Be more assertive. Be
So
less
this
aggressive.
video, we had a lot to say about that one,
Yeah.
and I didn't even get to. Let me watch it a second time. My stitch.
We'll just touch that out. All right.
Will be
But
even more
I like that
tight
you
and put
laugh
together.
immediately, like when he's
Feels
like, when they make you feel bad.
Shut up.
You might be that might be a red flag if somebody makes you feel bad by telling you something in a relationship. They didn't yell at you, they didn't throw things at you. You're talking
They're
about
not putting you
communication.
down.
Yeah.
They're not. I mean, you
Yeah.
need to be able to have healthy dialogue and
Yeah.
conflict and.
All right, we got one. We got one
Wait,
more.
so I'm guessing your opinion on that one, professional or educational.
Trash. In the guise of something nice, and then you open it, trash.
Oh no! It's like a chocolate kiss candy.
Because I know how people
That's
are
like
interpret it.
in the foil, and it looks really cute and delicious. But you open it up, and it's not chocolate.
It's peacock turd.
It's a turd.
It's a turd. It's a turd.
I'm gonna trust you on that one. I didn't really understand what he was saying, and so I have to watch it again.
It is close to being okay.
To confirm the trash.
It is close to being okay.
Yeah.
It needs to say several more things to make those blanket horrible statements. Even by throwing in the statement,
sound bites aren't
you should get therapy, or you should this thing, or you should maybe talk about it.
We all should.
Sure, that's a blanket statement. No, just don't say what you're saying there. Just don't refuse to say that.
That sounds like one of those narcissistic statements. So it's like there is some truth to it.
Exactly.
Sure,
that's why I don't like it.
We all benefit from therapy.
Yep, that's what I'm saying.
But you're using it as in an aggressive, judgmental, critical tone.
Yep. See, this is my problem with it. This is my problem. with it.
So you want your coaches with mental health backgrounds, because there are psychologists and trained therapists and clinicians who do coaching, and so just do your research on their training.
We got one more to do. Ready?
Okay. I have a lot of editing.
The worst type of woman to have in your life is a woman that dismisses your feelings over her own. You confide in your woman and you tell her.
Wait.
Whoa. I told you. I got some things to say.
This guy comes with the gloves on.
Off?
On. I'm thinking about getting ready to box safely.
Yeah.
Is it saying
take the gloves off?
Okay.
Taking the gloves off.
Gloves are off. Oh, it's
Comes
more like
swinging.
raw
Trying
swinging.
to just
doesn't even have time to put the gloves on. I got my boxing gloves over here that my friend Freddie got for me for my birthday.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's take a beat. Who is this dude?
This guy. Let's see. It's Lion's Den Uncut. So it comes from the Lion's Den, which I think is like a men's kind of coaching type of thing. I'm not 100%. I don't know what their credentials are. I know that they have a lot of following. I like
having these stats. We should have graphics.
I was not prepared for you to be that interested in this.
I just started nerding out about this.
Yeah. I was
okay. So now, let's take a beat.
All right, go backwards.
Okay.
Rewind. You can listen to it again.
Here we go.
Go. I've watched it 4 times. It's 39 seconds. It's a fast 39 seconds.
I'm taking notes on my whiteboard desk here. Okay. So
ready?
I'm gonna be ready.
Ready, go. Therapy.
Everyone take notes at home.
This is just like a psych quiz.
Sure.
Ready, go.
The worst type of woman to have in your life is a woman that dismisses your feelings over her own. You confide in your woman and you tell her some things that are going on in your life that are stressing you. You tell her that you're currently unhappy. And as opposed to being there for you, she'd instead rather turn to you and say, everybody's got those problems. Everybody's dealing with something. Get over it. The moment they do this, they'll never hear about another problem of yours again. They even validated your emotions so much to the point where you feel like there is no need for you to share them anymore. And that becomes more dangerous for the man, because what ends up happening is they start to bottle everything in, because now they feel like they have nobody to talk to.
That was so fast.
I know. And some of it's good.
I was like, wait.
Some of it's not.
At first I was like, oh, hell no. And then this was an emotional roller coaster of a video.
I know.
And then, but wait, she's talking shit and saying, get over it. Yeah, that is invalidating. That's true.
Is. But just because they've invalidated you in this particular moment does not mean they are forever going to invalidate you.
Yeah, and then there was that generalized catastrophe
about how
thinking error of
right, it starts with, and I don't know if this is the worst kind of one. So the worst kind of one, no, I don't think it's the worst type of one. Worst type of woman would be someone who is all sorts
Violent?
of abusive, but verbally
To
abusive,
you and everyone you know?
emotionally abusive, any type of abusive.
So my first note is hook, because they got you.
Yep.
They got you there with
The
that
worst type
that
of one.
that hook. Worst
Yeah.
type of one.
Yeah. And then
Drama
and then you're complete.
is someone who makes you feel bad.
Someone makes you feel bad because they didn't listen. But here's the thing, like, it rides the line of almost being okay. Because like you do not, you want a partner who is validating.
Yes.
But also, if you're going to your partner and constantly complaining about your life struggles, that's also not the job of your partner.
Yeah.
That is not their job. They're not your therapist. They're not your
And we're both in
priest.
mental health, but we're still not each other's therapists.
I don't dump on you about my stuff.
No.
Occasionally it leaks over and I have to talk about it with you.
And we'll confide in one another.
Yes.
And we're open and honest about like when we are feeling unhappy or not liking something in our lives or in our relationship.
And sometimes you
or
do also have to
circumstances.
say, yeah, that's a problem in life.
And
when you don't like how much something costs that we have to buy, like food, I'm like, hey,
gas is so expensive.
Yes. And then I'm like, hey, this is something that we have to deal with.
Taxes.
Get over it.
The fuck are taxes?
But again, like
making appointments.
You just have to do it. I get that you don't like it. I hear you. Okay.
You know what? I'm tired of you dismissing my feelings.
It's over.
I'm feeling invalidated. And from this point on, I'm guessing you're probably going to do this for the rest of our lives. So, wait, peace. That was a 3.
I thought you were going to shoot me.
No, peace out.
Okay, all right. No.
So, according to this guy's logic, what we just demonstrated for you is how relationships work.
Is so that if
with
you invalidate
the worst kind of woman.
Yeah, you're the worst. So the invalidation means that because you've confided in this person around the other things that are going on, and you apparently have no other outlet because you're going to bottle things up. Why are you bottling things up? Why is that the immediate conclusion?
Because she's so invalidating because she's the worst kind of woman.
Talk to anybody.
You don't get a therapist.
I don't need to talk to you about all of my problems.
Mm-hmm.
I will share with you what I'm processing and what I'm feeling and thinking, but you are not the landing mat of my bullshit.
Thanks.
So, like, that's the issue here. There is sound when it comes to validation.
Yeah.
Validation, extremely important and a great aspect of empathy.
We do a lot of training in this because not all of us were raised on how
Most
to do
people
this.
do not know how to validate. Most people know how to placate. Even if you care, for example, it's not that bad. It'll be okay.
Yeah.
That's you care. You don't want them to hurt. You're trying to soothe them in some way.
It sounds dismissive, though.
Except it feels and sounds dismissive.
Yeah.
Even though you don't mean it that way. You care a lot, and you're like, oh, you know, it's going to be okay. It's going to be fine. It's going to be, you know, we'll get through this and all this stuff. Yeah. That's fine to an extent, except it doesn't work.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I get what you're trying to go to, but it's more like empathy is about understanding how you feel and being curious about it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have to feel your feelings. It's the other thing about empathy. People think it's a Marvel movie. Yeah, you're not Mantis. You're not feeling other people's feelings or influencing their feelings.
Yeah, that's exhausting.
No, that doesn't work. So it's about being curious. Hey,
he was talking so fast.
Yes.
Or I don't know if they like sped it up in the video, but I'm like,
just cramming it in. But so there are parts of this that make sense. There are parts of it like validation that makes sense. There are parts of it around communicating validation that makes sense. There are parts about people who are unhealthy who do shut down when they are faced with people who are invalidating. Do not shut down. Be healthier than that.
Yeah.
If you're an unhealthy person, you will do the things that he said.
If you're an unhealthy person?
You will do the things that he said. Which is you respond to somebody's invalidation by bottling things up and not sharing anything at all.
Yeah, how does that help anything? So you're also part of the problem.
Yes, that's my whole point. This is a very sick
And
individual.
I also like to talk up creating a space that's safe to confide and be open and honest with one another too. So this is a tricky one because it's a little push-pull here. There's like some that's a bunch of bullshit, and then there's some that's like, well, there's some truth to that.
That's what I'm saying. They ride the line. And it ends up being trash because people internalize these things in a way that ends up being trash.
And then people are viewing this through their like lens and bias and like, you know, what's it called?
And it's so fast that you're not thinking it through.
Victim stance. And they're like, yeah, they're right. That my woman, you know, dismisses my feelings and she's the reason why I shut down the first place.
This is why when that meme was coming out about people like canceling plans is for yourself is self-care. I'm like, no, that's not self-care.
Yeah.
If the self-care would be not making the plan that you didn't want to make to begin with.
Yes.
And having boundaries about that.
Because like, I don't know. I know people who do too much.
Yes.
You do too much. Say no more. Allow yourself time to rest and relax on the weekends.
Yeah. Or whenever it is.
On your days
whatever
off.
It is.
Afternoons, mornings, whatever. So yes and no.
And if
that statement.
And if that alters, that's also something. But there's a lot of people out there who are depressed. So then you're saying this thing that you're like, oh, self-care is canceling plans, and they cancel all these plans because they're trying to make it and get out of depression.
People who are like socially anxious, or
and it's enabling a problem.
Yes, and that's a problem with all of these like
self-care is not
wellness
canceling plans.
Health guru influencers is that make these blanket statements, and you don't know who's getting this content and what you might be feeding into and making worse.
Because they don't do anything in there in anywhere that says do no harm. That's not what their ethics say. Mm-hmm. So let's do better, everyone out there, and just realize that it's a bunch of trash.
We're watching. So if you do trash, we will talk about how trashy your content
I feel like the Toxic Avenger.
So while you're out there scrolling, whether it's Reddit, we haven't even touched that yet.
I don't want to do Reddit. Don't make me do Reddit.
I don't want to do it.
Okay, fine.
If you all want to send us Reddit BS, that'd be helpful. TikTok, Instagram, YouTube. If you're on the formerly known Twitter still, or even Blue Sky, wherever you get your content, if you find anything weird or odd or questionable or just hilarious, obviously dumb.
If in your heart of hearts you want to know whether it's therapy
or you're just like, I don't know,
trash, or if you just flat out think something's trash and just want to share something funny to me,
tag us at Wit and Reason, or include us in a hashtag. Mm-hmm. Wit and Reason, WITANDREASON. Good job, babes. Good finds.
Thanks.
Until next time, every Tuesday, 6 p.m. West Coast, 9 p.m. East Coast.
I want to keep on doing these, but we need to do shorter. We need to do shorter because I want to keep on doing. I want to do like 20 videos and just like go through trash.
There's just so much to break down in this short thing.
And I want to get a trash icon, and I want it to pop up in the middle of us and be like, boom, and it's trash. Like, we need to do more production value here. Producer and genius extraordinaire. I want more bells and whistles. Explosions. Trash.
It's funny because I can visualize that and you having so much fun with it.
Yes.
Especially if there's like a big red button that comes with it.
Oh my God. Can we get a big red button?
We'll see how this goes. All right. See you all next week. Bye.